Stage two, boys. So stage
Woo.
two, we're going to be talking about kind of a split subject here, but all Zelda. It's all Zelda, baby. We're going to be talking about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which has been announced to come out on November 20th as the prequel to Breath of the Wild. I've easily said this on the show, a 10 out of 10 game. I mean, that game's perfect to me. It does have a story. I don't know how many people played it and the story resonated with them as much, but it's interesting that November 20th is when this is coming out, and Nintendo announced a sequel to Breath of the Wild, currently unnamed, using the same engine as Breath of the Wild, with an unannounced release date. And then just I don't know, what was it, like a week ago or whatever, they said, oh, by the way, the prequel's coming out next month, so you guys can pick that up. It runs on the Koei Tecmo engine, which is otherwise known as the Warriors engine. For anyone that is unfamiliar, that's games basically like Dynasty Warriors. And they have a couple of other series, but they all play exactly the same. It's basically 1 versus 1,000. Every enemy kind of dies pretty easily, and then there's a boss. And this is actually the second Koei Tecmo or Warriors Zelda game. They came out a few years ago with a game just called Hyrule Warriors, where you could play as Link and one of the Gorons and Princess Zelda and even Ganondorf. So I actually kind of want to talk about the sequel and the prequel and Breath of the Wild. So I'm wondering if you guys have experience with Warriors games, if you have experience with Breath of the Wild, and then just kind of your thoughts.
I have experience on both, man, and I gotta say I was super excited when they announced this. Like, I'm one of those guys that was expecting maybe news from Breath of the Wild 2, and I was like surely about to be disappointed. But this thing, man, it made me forget everything. I was like smiling. I was looking at the screen. I couldn't believe it. What was going on? Like, I mean, it was like we all have been craving for more Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild is so iconic at this point. Like, it's like we just want to know more about this world. This world is huge, especially for a Zelda fan. This is the biggest world that any Zelda fan has experienced. And then they to say, hey, we don't have any news for Breath of the Wild 2, but let's take a look at this. And this shows a prequel, man, from that war. I mean, when you start playing Breath of the Wild, everything is destroyed. Everything is like ground zero. It's like no life. It's like, what? It's like you go into this world and you start like trying to discover what happened. What happened 100 years ago? And we get to experience this, man. It's just out of this world. I'm super happy. Nintendo just made me extremely happy. They're good at that, man. I don't think there's a company right now that is as good at Nintendo to surprise people. Like, most companies right now, they cannot keep anything hidden. Like, I mean, I was talking just about now Microsoft. Everything got leaked. There was no surprises. Nintendo just dropped this. Did you know that this was coming out, Chris?
No, man, and I would really like for just someday some Stage Select fan to write like a Stage Select drinking game, and one of the boxes is drink every time we talk about how fucking genius Nintendo is. Because it's like every episode we're just... I mean, it's
I
Zelda,
love them.
but,
I hate them.
wow.
It's weird, man. It's a weird relationship. But how did they do it? How did they keep this a secret, man? It's incredible.
Manny, have you played a Warriors game before?
Nah, man. Honestly, the last Zelda games that I played, it was a while back, man. It was obviously the one from N64, the Ocarina of Time, and then
wow, man, that's a classic. Yeah,
Majora's Mask, and
my
what was
favorite,
the other one, Oracle of Ages. That's like that's actually the last Zelda game that I played. But I mean, I was still kind of shocked because Zelda's kind of up there. Like that game Zelda is kind of up there with Mario, man. Like, it's been around for quite a while, and just the fact that that's probably like number 2 of Nintendo, like
pretty much
to me is Mario, then Link, Zelda, and the fact that they're still producing games like that, like, I was actually pretty shocked, dude. So, and then just seeing the trailer, I'm like, I haven't played the other ones, but just from seeing the trailer and like some gameplay a little bit, it still looked pretty cool, man. Like, the story looks like it's gonna get intense. Like, just from there, and it feels like it makes. I feel like for people that have played Breath of the Wild, like the guy said, you're gonna get more of a bigger understanding compared to me if I was to go like fresh in it. But if I was to play the prequel first and then go in order that way, I feel like I would probably enjoy it that way more, just so I can get a better understanding of the story too. But no, just the fact that they're Lincoln and he's still going at it all these times, like it's still pretty dope.
I think it's so funny because, and hopefully you're coming from stage one, but it's really interesting to me that we just came from talking about how an entire company, Microsoft, is having to pivot their entire business model just to succeed, and that PlayStation is having to spend millions of dollars on AAA companies, while on the other side, we've just all talked about how excited we are to get another game on the same engine as 15 other games, and it's just another Zelda. And on top of that, the sequel is on the same engine. So neither of these are like a redone game.
No.
They're just two games that are both great. They're well known, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, it's insane that I don't know. They're surely. I mean, drinking game aside, there must be geniuses at Nintendo. the Imagination Lab at Nintendo. They have a box around Super Mario and a box around Zelda, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be left speechless, but the Warriors games exist, and they're just slapping a story onto it. But it's a perfect. Like, I don't have rose-colored glasses on for this.
For this topic, it's the perfect game. It's the perfect setup. You're gonna talk about a war. It's perfect.
So that's what I was gonna say. Is I don't have rose-colored glasses for this because I like Dynasty Warriors games. I like those games, but I haven't played one in years. And I played Hyrule Warriors co-op for a little bit, and I was like, okay, that was fun, but it's still sort of a gimmick. I mean, it's cute, but once you've played Dynasty Warriors, you've played all of them, really. There's a Gundam Wing one that's pretty badass, but I mean, outside of that, it's the same game. But because it's taking place on the giant war that took place before, I'm pretty sure one of the greatest selling games of all time and one of the greatest rated games of all time.
Yeah.
The engine makes perfect sense. So I'm excited for that. But I also I do kind of want to squeeze in a little bit of talk about the sequel. But before that, they did say that they revamped quite a few things, which I think is great. I think Nintendo's been doing that a little bit more. Their newer Paper Mario was a lot newer. They have been adding more and more innovations. And I think they made it clear. There was like a 6-minute trailer with Koei Tecmo where like the supers are different than they've ever been in a Warriors game. Just there's, I think, a bit more story and things that you can do. But I think it's smart.
You can play as Link, Zelda, the champions, which is basically all the 4 champions are gonna be there. And again, this is maybe spoilers, but if you haven't played Zelda, go play it right now. It doesn't make any sense that you haven't played it. It's an amazing game. Go play it. But all the champions on this world are dead. But now you're gonna be able to control them in this game because it's a prequel, and it's
in
amazing.
Real time.
They used to be like one of the best fighters in the whole world on Hyrule World. So I'm like, man, this is like fantasy come true for people that just want to know more about this game. Also, what made this game great to me is they just they put a soul on it. Dynasty Warriors games are fun. They're fun gameplay. They're fun, like used to, be
Hack and slash.
Hack and slash 1,000 people army and just basically blasting around. But when they put story and such a good story that's already been told, they don't have to do anything. They just basically say, hey, let's just make a game about the past of this amazing story. And I'm a first-time buyer, and I never bought I played those games, but I never bought a Dynasty Warriors game. And I was about to buy Hyrule Warriors, the first one, but I didn't because to me it was like a gimmick, like you said. Yeah. But this, because it's a prequel, I'm going to buy it first day. No questions asked.
That was the other thing that I wanted to say is just the power of, not just the power of Zelda, but specifically the power of the Breath of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild. This is a game that came out, I don't know. I mean, it feels like it must be going on 7-8 years. I don't know. It's been a while.
Dang, it's been that long since that game came out, dude.
It has been a while.
No. What game?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
No,
5, 4.
It was released. It was released with the Switch.
Okay, so how old is the Switch?
So like what, 2-3 years old then?
It's got to be older than that.
The Switch, yeah, maybe.
I'm sorry for that, guys. I'm a really Zelda geek.
No, because I have like a whole thing on this with Breath of the Wild. It's got to be 4 years at least.
No, the way AG said it in the announcement.
2017.
Okay,
So
wow.
2017.
I
remember because they released it with there was two versions. There was a version for the U and one for the Switch, and they released it at the same time.
So even all right, we're 70% through with 2020. So the game's three years old and some change.
Yeah.
This is a game that it only had. I mean, it's only got four. It's got 5 dungeons. Just got 5 dungeons. That's it. You have 4, and then the final boss.
Yeah.
And the game, I personally put in about 130 hours before I went to go beat Ganon, and I think like many other people just whooped his ass because I had every upgrade in the game. There's something about this engine that's so perfect that even to this day, it's the only game some people play where they're just trying to beat it in master mode and beating it faster and faster and faster. And yeah, there are a lot of games like that, but I think because Breath of the Wild is an open world and you can beat it 1,000 different times, 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering about the sequel a little bit because they said the sequel is the same world, the same engine. I'm pretty sure probably the same mechanics. If they just left the exact same mechanics and gave me another map counterclockwise, I would pay $60 for it. But I mean, I guess Manny, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild, I guess it would be a little harder for you to touch on this. But I'm kind of wondering, like, are you expecting something new from Breath of the Wild 2? Plot-wise, gameplay-wise, just mechanics?
To be honest with you, I'm not expecting anything new, but I know they're going to give it to me, and I know I'm going to love it. Like, that's how much I know Nintendo. It's really not going to mess up with this type of franchise. By the way, disclaimer, I'm a big Nintendo fan. I'm a big Zelda fan. When I'm saying I'm buying something day one, I am, but I'm not telling everybody to do the same. For the listeners,
Yeah.
Check on reviews. Wait, I'm gonna admit it. I'm a Zelda fan. I always have been. I know it never have been burned before by Nintendo. That's my type of game. But I know if it's not your type of game, maybe you should wait for reviews. Now, going back to your question, Chris. I mean, they can give me another map, no extra features, and I'll be fine with it. But that's me. I believe most people are expecting new things because, I mean, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for a new experience. Now, I'm satisfied with what I got. I would like more of the same. But I know Nintendo is adding more stuff for sure. There might be some new mechanics. There might be some new ways to beat dungeons, new ways to solve puzzles. I know this is happening, and I believe that's why they're taking their sweet times, because it's not about just putting this copy paste and engine. Nintendo is not like that. Nintendo is known by trying new things. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they succeed, but when they succeed hard. So that's why I'm saying that I believe it's gonna be a whole new experience. That's my predictions.
You know what? That's actually, I hadn't considered it before. That's a perfect example for Manny and anybody who hasn't played Breath of the Wild and maybe has played Ocarina. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are built on the exact same engine and came out, I think, maybe a year apart and are completely different games.
Completely, man. You're right.
So I'm kind of with you. I mean, I could speculate all day long, but they haven't really given us much information. I think it was a minute of it looking kind of dark and scary, sort of like a dark world, which Legend of Zelda tends to do a lot, where there's a dark world or a low rule or whatever.
With a physical Ganondorf, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to both. I'm happy that Zelda is reusing their bigger IPs again. I'm like low-key hoping for Metroid Prime 4 pretty soon, because they're starting to come out with the big boys from that Disney vault, and I'm ready for them, man. Yeah, I'm ready. Keep them coming, man. Give me Ice Climbers or whatever, dude. I'm ready for it.
They should put out another Star Fox game, man. I feel like that one I'll go out in a heartbeat if the Star Fox ends up making a.
They have to. There's got to be one.
Try. Sadly, the last one wasn't well received, but yeah, you're right, man. It's an overlooked franchise. I believe they should give Star Fox a little bit more love.
Star Fox is great, man. Nintendo's sitting on like 6 giants.
Yeah, seriously, man.
I believe they're pretty much choosing and picking what they're gonna tackle, because games are taking longer to make nowadays. So I believe they're like trying to be effective with their time and resources. Again, I would like all these franchises to come out. I believe a Metroid game is coming out soon as well. Retro Studios is working on that, and I'm looking forward to that like crazy. But Nintendo, they take their sweet time, but they deliver a good quality game. So I say just take as much time as you like. I'm fine. I'm going to be playing here, Hyrule Warriors. Take your time with Breath of the Wild. Don't worry, I'll be fine.
I know everyone listening played Animal Crossing. I know you guys waited 8 years or whatever that was.
Right?
Let Nintendo take their time.
Yeah.
Daddy Miyamoto will provide. But that's all I have for stage 2, unless you guys got anything else.
I'm just gonna start a movement right now. Hashtag get Manny a Switch for Christmas. Sam, and then another hashtag.
Sam.
Even though it's a Nintendo Switch Lite, I don't care.
Manny, this is what I want. I want Manny to play Breath of the Wild 2 at some point with us. I mean, on his own with his Switch, and I want to comment that game afterward with Manny because I know Manny. Manny, as a new Zelda player, I just want to hear his reactions and stuff. That would be magical for me.
Yeah, I'd be down.
I think I have a capture card that works with Switch. Behind the scenes. All right, cool.